All right, all right. How's it going, guys? So this is day 4 of the 7-day domination boot camp, and as you see over here, what we're going to cover is collecting a decision. Pretty much, this is about closing deals. This is about sealing deals. This is about getting the commitment. This is about converting your prospect to a customer or business partner. Okay, so we're going to cover this real quick, and I'm going to be really quick about this. My quick tips to help everyone effectively close better, all right, is as follows. Number 1, you need to be able to give people a fear of loss. So just as you see over here, Zig Ziglar says, and I quote, "The fear of loss is greater than the desire for gain," end quote. Now, why is that, guys? Usually people, all right, in society, we can see it every single day. We do enough not to lose, but we don't do enough to actually win big. So this is a character flaw that we've all been conditioned with. We've all been conditioned to think and operate this way. We've all been conditioned to operate within our limits. And that's pretty much what that is. So why do people pay rent every month? Because they know if they don't pay rent, if they're on a lease or if they don't pay mortgage, there's going to be some severe consequences for that, right? So we all do what we need to do to survive for the most part, but not enough to thrive. I hope this makes sense. So you need to be able to give people a fear of loss. The second thing you need to do is give people a sense of urgency. Okay? A sense of urgency really emphasizes more on the time sensitivity factor as to why someone should get started in your product, service, or opportunity. The third tip I'm going to give you is provide that call to action. So you gave the fear of loss, you gave the sense of urgency, and now it's time to give them the call to action. Everyone has problems. Everyone has issues. When you focus on those issues, all right, you provide value based on those issues, okay, you're going to develop a good reputation for yourself. You're going to brand yourself, okay, as a valuable resource. Okay? Now you're giving them the fear of loss and a sense of urgency. So if they want this solution that you're providing for their problem, then they need to act now. You need to really emphasize the time sensitivity factor of it. And here's how you get started. Click the button below. Or here, sign, or here, grab a pen and sign this application. Or here, take this link. This is the digital application link. Click it, process that application, and once it's fully processed, then we'll have you in the system. Those are my 3 tips: fear of loss, sense of urgency, call to action. So how do you put this into practice, right? Well, this is what I do. And since all of you already know that I'm mostly involved in the crypto, Forex type of businesses within the home-based business industry, this is how I tie it in all together. So when I give them a fear of loss, guys, I tell them, listen, the Forex market is 24/5, 24 hours a day, 5 days a week. The cryptocurrency market is 24/7, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You never know when the next breakthrough trading opportunity is going to impact our markets. And just like what one of my mentors said, the best way to get ready is to stay ready. How can you stay ready? Well, make sure you have full access to our products and services, so that way, when the breakthrough trading opportunity impacts our markets, most likely our experts, our tools, our systems will be able to pick it up for you while you're working, while you're at school, while you're spending time with the children, while you're sleeping. Okay? So that's how I pretty much tie in that fear of loss and that sense of urgency pretty much in one shot. I emphasize the time sensitivity factor of it. Okay? Now, for those of you that are building a team, I usually tell people, listen, the next best spot on my team is not guaranteed to be available within the next hour or two from now. It's available right now. And the reason why that's important is because I have so many people contacting me via social media, Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, you name it, even YouTube, believe it or not. So I have people contacting me consistently, whether they want to be a business partner or if they just simply want to be a customer. By you getting started right now, you'll be able to take my next best spot. And when you take full advantage of grabbing the next best spot, most likely I'll be able to help build your organization a lot faster than it would normally take you to just build yourself. Now, regardless, I'm going to help you because your success is my success, but fast is fun and success loves speed. The next best spot on my team is available now. And then I give them a call to action. Here, let's get you started. Here's how we get you started. Take my link, click it, sign the digital application. Once it processes, you're fully involved. That's how I give them a fear of loss, sense of urgency, and a call to action. So let's dive a little more into what it's going to take for you to close more effectively. So these are 3 tips that I will give people, okay, to add on to the tactics and strategies they use to close. So right now I'm going to share 3 strategies with you, all right? And one of them, this one that you see over here, this is for those that are brand new pretty much to the industry. For those that don't really have enough experience, here is my advice. Here's my suggestion. If you are not making at least $2,000 a month or more building the business, I highly suggest you use this 3-way close. All right, for those of you really starting out, so on and so forth, okay? Now, you've already got someone to clear their time. They clear their time. Then you sent them a link to a webinar, or you sent them a link to a website or YouTube video or whatever tools that you have to share the business. Or even if it's in person, even if it's a 2-on-1, and perhaps you showed them a PowerPoint slideshow right from your laptop, or, you showed them the information through a flip book. Maybe it was a DVD press play or whatever the case may be. Whether you're with them or you're not with them, I highly suggest you do the 3-way close. Now, here's a little tip I'm going to add on to this. Video calls during a 3-way call is a lot more effective because people are able to match the face and a name. They are able to match the voice and the face. So it makes it more of a live experience. So when you do the typical simple 3-way close, you keep it simple. If you're the one that's calling on your upline to participate as a closer in this 3-way close scenario, you must ensure these 3 things. Number 1, that you introduce your expert to your prospect. Now, as you can see over here, I'm going to move my mouse real quick. So let's say you're me, all right? This is me over here, okay? And he is my expert, and he is my prospect. My prospect and I has a trust due to a relationship that we have, all right? Whether it's a long-time friendship, business partnership, whatever, right? My prospect and I have a trust, okay? Now, when I introduce my prospect to my experts, all right, what I'm going to do over here when I introduce them is I'm going to edify my expert. And to edify means to talk very highly of someone. So I would say, hey, look, Hey, Matt, listen, I have Alex on the phone over here, and let me tell you, this is a rare event. This man is super successful. He's a multiple seven-figure earner in the profession that we're in. And this guy, he travels all around the world. He impacts the masses. He motivates people. He has a book out. He has, all types of programs out there to help people experience further financial increase for themselves. All right. And it's a rare event that I even have him on the line over here. Now, Alex, this is my really, really good friend, Matt. And Matt, let me tell you something about him. Me and him, we known each other for quite a while. We're good friends. We're good buds. And I really want you to, just really talk to him about what we have going on over here and why it's so huge. All right. So notice when I introduced my prospect, I didn't really edify my prospect. I was just a little nice about it with the introduction. What you need to do is edify your expert. So you should never, ever, ever, introduce your prospect edifying them a lot more than you edify the expert. Leave the edification for your expert that's going to seal the deal. When it comes to your prospect, just introduce them in a nice way. That's it. So this is what happens. I have a trust with my prospect, and because of that trust, my prospect is going to have respect for my expert. This is going to make my prospect a lot more receptive to what my expert has to say. And this is why it's important. So, I've been in certain scenarios where where I literally edified one of my team members who is not as successful as I am, but because I have a personal relationship with my prospect, they don't really see me in that business light. All right. Even if we are business partners, they see me as a peer. They don't really see me as a superior, if that makes sense. But when you edify a stranger, when you edify them and make it a big deal they're on the line, that makes your prospect a lot more receptive to whoever, to whatever the closer has to say, whatever the expert closer has to say, right? So number one, make sure you edify your expert when you are introducing your prospect to your expert. Number two, once the expert talks, stay quiet. Let the expert talk. Even if the expert messes up, do not speak. Because when you do so, you de-edify your expert. So you never want to do this, ever, even if your expert messes up. Remember this, the prospect doesn't know whether or not your expert messes up or not. So just stay quiet, okay? Edify them, stay quiet. Now, when the close is finished and you get a yes commitment out of your prospect, send your prospect a link and walk them through the sign-up process. So if you're in person with them, just immediately on your laptop or on your phone, hand over your phone with your sign-up link already entered into the web browser. Stay quiet. Let them sign up. Now, oftentimes, what ends up happening, and it kind of mind boggles me, when the expert gets the yes commitment out of the prospect, some people, after the call's done, say, are you ready? Are you sure you're ready to get started today? It's almost like you didn't believe what just happened. You got a yes commitment out of the prospect. That's all you need. Hand over your phone, sign them up. That's it. Don't make this harder. Assume the sale. That's one of the golden rules. Assume the sale. All right? So, simple 3 steps. Okay? Edify your expert during the introduction between your prospect and your expert. Stay quiet. When your expert gets the yes commitment out of your prospect, just simply send them your link and walk them through the sign-up process. Now, in this scenario, you are the actual expert, okay? So this is what you need to do to close during a 3-way call. And, of course, video calls are preferred, okay? Voice calls, hey, voice calls work. But video calls actually increases the closing rate, all right? So in this scenario, you're the expert. Make sure, okay, that your mentee edifies you as his mentor, as his expert. Okay? Make sure that happens. Make sure you get a proper edification. To ensure that you get a proper edification is also helpful, all right, that you call your mentee and you tell them a couple of things about yourself that they could use during the edification process. Now, as the expert, after you get introduced, you obviously gonna, little small talk real quick to build a rapport. So let's say in this example, let's say if I'm Alex in this scenario and the prospect is Matt, same as the last scenario, but this time I'm the expert. This time I'm Alex. Well, the first thing I would do is I would say, hey, how's it going, Matt? How are you today? How are you feeling? Tell me a little bit about yourself, just so you can kind of build a little rapport, all right? Now, after the quick small talk is done, all right, you're going to simply follow this simple system, okay? What do you like best about what you saw? And it's always helpful to give them two choices. What did you like best about what you saw? Was it the service side or was it the business building portion? Always give two choices. Now, if it's a positive response, you're going to say, me too. So if they say, hey, I'm only interested in being a customer, I'm only interested in the service part, just say, me too. When I first saw it, I said the same thing. It made sense to me. So if they're more into the customer side of things, if they're more into the product or service as opposed to the opportunity, then you stick with that. Don't try to force them to see your vision when it comes to building the business as well. Now, if someone says, I'm only interested in building the business, believe it or not, we have people like that. Well, great. Me too. When I first saw this, I thought it was an amazing platform for someone to build the business. The product and service makes sense. So I'm the kind of guy where I like to push products and services. And I see that this product and service is amazing to push. So I'm all in with this. So yeah, me too. I feel you. All right. Now, if someone says both, which is a common one, right? It's more common than just a business builder, right? When someone says both, again, you go with me too. It's a positive response. And with that positive response, just level with them and say, me too. Here's a rule. Meet them where they're at. Okay? Meet them where they are at. Now, let's just say if it's a negative response, if someone says, I don't know, I've seen one of these types of things before, okay? Sometimes you're going to get a negative response like that, all right? But here's the thing. They might have been involved in other network marketing programs, so on and so forth. So there's several ways you could approach this, right? One of the ways that I approach this is the feel, felt, found, okay? Now, most likely they've been a part of another network marketing company or affiliate marketing company or another home-based business, right? So what you need to do is use the feel, felt, found approach. I feel you. I felt the same way when I first saw this. I've tried a bunch of other programs and I was just looking out there for which one, works best for me, so on and so forth. So I feel you and I felt the same way. However, I found that this particular program is a lot different compared to everything else that's out there. All right. And then you continue on with the process. If they're still negative about it, you can say, well, tell me what's your story? And they'll give you a little sob story. In the last business that I was in, my upline didn't help me in the last business or whatever. And you just make it a point that your last business has nothing to do with this business. If you went to one retail store, let's say Walmart, and you bought milk there, and that milk happened to be spoiled, does it mean that the milk at Target, which is another retail store, doesn't work? You can't compare apples to oranges here. The affiliate model is being attached to everyday things now, including cable TV, right? So it's a completely different thing. So I feel you. I felt the same way. But what I found is that this is completely different. And then you continue on with the closing process, right? So as the expert, you're going to share a testimonial, your success testimonial. So if they're into the product or service, go with that. Use a testimonial regarding the product or service. If they're into the business only, share a couple of testimonials regarding business building, right? If they say both, then share a success story, one of each. right? And then what you're going to do after you share your testimonial, your success story, because, hey, look, let's face the fact, right? Facts tell, stories sell. So it's important that you talk about your testimonial. Right after that, you're just simply going to collect the decision. So this is what I say. I usually say something to the effect of, look, we treat this like a financial IQ test. You either see what we see or you don't. And regardless of your decision is absolutely fine. But based on everything that you heard and you saw, do you see an opportunity for yourself here? Now, the question I ask is a closed-ended question. It requires a yes or no answer. Now, what you never want to do is ask someone, so what do you think of it? What do you think about what you saw? What do you think about this? Right? You don't want to ask them an open-ended question. Because when people get started, they make an emotional decision to get started. What is emotion? Energy, emotion. They make an emotional decision to get started so they can have some kind of change or financial increase in their life. But when you ask them an open-ended question, they will access the logical part of their brain. And then with that logical part of the brain, the skeptic comes out most of the time, right? So you want to be able to control the conversation. The one who is in control of the conversation is the winner in this case. So based on everything that you heard and saw, do you see an opportunity for yourself here? Yes or no? Are you ready to trade with us? Yes or no? Are you ready to get started? Yes or no? Are you ready to join the family? Are you ready to be a part of greatness? Yes or no? Right? So that's how you collect a decision. Now, if they say no, cool, no problem. Thank you for taking your time out to see this. Not a problem. If they say yes, great, let's get you started. If someone says no, remember that NO just simply means next opportunity. Do not be emotionally attached to the outcome. It is a numbers game. All right? It is a numbers game. Now, if you're someone who's presenting at a live meeting, all right, I use my copyrighted 4-phase close. Now, I believe the last time that I taught this was like 4 years ago. This thing works like a charm. So much so that I had to copyright, my exact formula for the 4-phase close. So this is how I break it down in four phases, right? So let's just say the meeting is already going. You already presented, the product, service, and opportunity, all right? You already, did the testimonial part. You did all that. You followed the 5 steps to an effective live presentation. You did all that, right? Now it's the closing time. What I do is separate this in 4 phases. Number 1, the awareness phase. In the awareness phase, I pretty much tell people, listen, we are sitting in an untapped market. There's a lot of people out there that have no idea what this company is about. We are in the dead center of an untapped market. I treat this like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I treat this like it's Bitcoin back in 2008. You guys are watching this right now. You guys are seeing this right now. And you're getting it first before hundreds of thousands will be able to get access to this information and take full advantage of this opportunity. Then I go into the second phase, guys. The second phase, all right, is current events, right? I leverage current events to make my point stronger. So in this scenario, it is, we are in, I believe this is January 22nd. So we just recently had a government shutdown, right? So I usually use unfortunate current events, right? And I say, look, in the last government shutdown back in 2013-ish or something like that, 2013, 2014, and even now, there are a lot of families affected by this, especially federal workers. Good people, went to school for a long time, had a career for a long time, just for it to be pretty much impacted by the indecisions of the Senate or whatever the case may be. You leverage unfortunate current events to make your points stronger. All right? And then you get into the empowerment phase. You give them empowerment. But if you were your own boss, who could fire you? Nobody. But if you had control of your finances as a trader, what do you have to worry about? Nothing. Right? So you want to empower them. Regardless of what your product, service, or opportunity is, you want to use this phase to empower them. So awareness, untapped market, right? You're one of the first to see this. Second, current events phase. So if you're in the health industry, all right, the American obesity rate is over 60%, more than any other country out there. Right now, you can take full advantage of this revolutionary product that's going to help you, see some health benefits or whatever the case may be, if you're in a health-related company or whatever. Third, empower them. Empower them. Fourth, collect that decision. Now, when I collect a decision, it's pretty much a showdown. I usually tell all the guests in the room to stand up, and I go to each and every one of them, and I ask them directly, do you see an opportunity for yourself here, yes or no? And if they say no, cool, on to the next. I go through all the decisions really, really, really quickly. There's several ways you could do this, to control a crowd based on how big the room is. If it's small, you could do other little things or whatever. But if for large events, I usually have people stand up. And I go to them personally, shake their hand, ask them for their name, shake their hand, and collect a decision. Because that's really what it's all about, collecting a decision. And regardless if they say no or yes, I'm not attached to that. My goal is to be a marketer. And that is pretty much making people aware of the product, service, or opportunity that I'm presenting to them. My goal is to increase awareness and collect a solid decision. Now, if they say no, is that the end of the road? No, because, you could follow up. And there's different ways to follow up, which we will cover in the next video. All right, in day number 5's topic. So, guys, I hope this information was helpful. I hope this was easy for you to understand. And I really do want you to apply some of the tactics that you learn in regards to the closing. You see, most people, they present the business. Most people, they do all the other steps except for closing. And by doing that, they literally just put on a show. That's really all they did. Guys, you didn't master the invite. You didn't master your names list. You didn't master the presentation to not get these conversions. So you must do the close. And again, do not be emotionally attached to the outcome. All right? Go for the close. All right? Go for the close. And just like several 7-figure mentors say, they just go for no's, right? And within those no's, eventually, they're going to find a couple of yeses. So go for no. Switch your mindset. What is NO? NO, next opportunity. Guys, I hope this video was helpful. All right? Be on the lookout for the next email for the next day's topic, all right, which is fortune in the follow-up. All right, so closing is where conversion starts. But the next skill that you're going to pick up is going to make you a fortune. So, guys, with that said, stay blessed, take care. I'll see you on the other side.